Greetings, this is Dior Ashley Brown on July 1st, 2022, visiting with Reesa Renee on behalf of DC Music Summit and the Humanities DC Oral History Collaborative. How do you prefer people to address you?
uh, Reesa Renee is cool. My homie Picasso, way back in the day, dubbed me Double R. So I don't mind when people call me
I like
Double
that.
R either.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would be the names.
So, is that your real name?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
My name. Don't ever call me this.
Okay.
But my name is Teresa Renee.
Oh, Teresa Renee.
My family, growing up, has always called me Reesa. Friends call me Reesa.
Okay. Yeah.
In college, they used to call me T.
Okay.
But Reesa is the name.
How did you decide on that for your artist name?
So when I first started, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little
Yeah.
bit later, but I feel like every artist from the DMV started with a go-go band.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And low-key, I was in a band, and my brother it was his band pretty much. It was a group of us, of course, but everybody used to call me Sis at that time. And again, people call me Reesa all the time, and I was thinking of a name, and honestly, I was at the time really enveloped with soul music, you know what I'm saying? So Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, it's like ba ba, boom bam, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how they came and sounded.
Yeah.
So I just felt like, Reesa Renee just kind of flowed sonically along those great artists that influenced me at the time.
So who were you influenced by?
My initial was Jill Scott. I really delve in. And music has always been a part, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I really delve into Jill Scott's first album, Music Soul Child's first album. I had them on CD. Lauryn Hill, of course. Aaliyah at that time as well. Once we kind of, as I continue to grow and study, of course, NERD was always a big influence on me and my music. And again, we can get into this a little later, but Mickey and Reggie, Heaven Sound, if you know my song Hello Mama, that's one of the first songs we collaborated on, and we are all like die-hard flipping NERD fans. So, that's how that sound kind of came about. And, once I release my next album, you guys are going to see kind of some of the funky stuff we kind of came along with. But just with like the Got Me Loose, that has a go-go influence,
I love that song. Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Backyards have been so supportive over the years. I grew up with Northeast Groovers, listening to Northeast, UCB, CCB,
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
That's like kind of a jumbo along that time in the beginning of my career, I'd say.
Oh, awesome! So I'm gonna bring it back a little bit to your origins. So where were you born? Where are you from?
I'm from Largo.
From Largo, Maryland.
Yeah. I grew up in PG County. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in PG County?
Oh man, black.
Okay. Okay.
I realized just being a little older and traveling more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody didn't have the privilege, if you will, that we had to grow around so many successful African American people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not to say that the community is not met with impoverished people, but at the same time, like you could also see like Woodmore, like not too far away, where a lot of the NBA players and stuff were living and stuff like that. So, I went to a plethora of different schools, if you will. Phyllis C. Williams, which is right over there by Woodmore, but then I also went to Capital Christian, which is in Largo there. I used to play the Kettering Largo Boys and Girls Club, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of different areas that kind of groomed me, if you will. I spent a lot of time in Seat Pleasant as well. One of my first jobs, I used to babysit Continental Place right off of Bricey Road.
Okay, Bricey Road.
Yeah. So I was around there a lot as well. And then in my neighborhood, we were the only house that had a basketball court.
Oh, wow.
My dad built a half court in our backyard, so all of the kids would come to our neighborhood and play, And at that time, we was always outside.
Yeah.
And so we played kickball, soccer. Like I was a really big sports and like bike riding and tag and like outdoor jump growing up.
What was your household like? Siblings, relatives?
Oh yeah. So I grew up with my mom and my dad and my brother. I got an older brother.
Okay.
My dad was in the ministry
Yeah.
for a lot of my childhood, which was an interesting experience.
You said in the
Ministry.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very interesting experience to be able to be so close knit to spirituality. You know, to kind of learn it at such a young age. I will say there were times where I learned how to be involved and close to like God at the time, and have seen a lot of like real things. But then at the same time, you see the not so pretty things in the church and dealing with the people and things kind of falling apart, and it got kind of dark there with some personal things that I had to kind of experience, and just looking at it holistically, I think it really morphed me obviously into the person that I am today, and I'm still healing. I just got finished saying this is like a constant, you know what I'm saying? It's not something like I'm healed, woo, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's some things that I have recently just been able to overcome. It's kind of some of the traumas and things that I did experience in that household, but it is a great thing to have both parents and to have loving parents, and they always like instill good values and my fun and jokey, laughy, like, and music ultimately. Like,
okay.
So I know I'm rambling, but
no.
My dad played the drums, right? And he taught me how to play when I was 5. And there were times where I would play at the church. Like, being a professional at the music business now, it's like I'm not no real drummer, because there's some drummers out there that be doing that now, you know what I'm saying? But like, I could hold me a nice little tune, And if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen pictures or videos of me like playing the drums a little bit. But I got into playing the drums. I was classically trained on the piano. I played the flute for a little bit of time, picked up the trumpet a little bit, played the guitar a little bit, kind of dabbled here and there, you know what I'm saying? But I would say as a kid, the biggest things for me were sports, music indirectly, and my brother. And low key, like, he's the one that produced my first album. He introduced me to the music game, just period, and in general, like, that was my best friend, you know what I'm saying, growing up, and I'm appreciative for the relationship that we had.
Wow. So, is it safe to say that the music was gospel that you grew up listening to, or?
It was a mix.
Oh,
yeah. So, I say as a kid,
yeah,
I wasn't allowed to listen to the radio.
Okay.
Granted, I went to public school, so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm around kids, too, so I still listen to songs back in the day. But ultimately, yes, I did grow up on gospel, Christian, contemporary music. Like, I could name drop, like, Michael W. Smith, to be random, Fred Hammond, and Commission, like, my Jounce. Kurt Franklin, everybody know. I know I'm probably leaving some out. Like, I can get you in the Gospels, young. But then again, like I said, like Aaliyah and Music Soul Child and Erykah Badu
and that's your
Scott,
favorite genre.
like those that I mean, I don't really have a favorite genre, to be quite honest. Like, there's so many different dimensions and phases of music that music has guided me through in my life. You know what I'm saying? So, I would say closer to like my more adulthood and like kind of finding and falling into myself, you know what I'm saying? After I did the gospel to the neo soul to the NERD to the go-go, you know what I'm saying? And then I kind of fell into house music a little bit, you know what I'm saying? There was a time when I had come out officially, like, to my parents or whatever, and it didn't go over too well.
And when you say come out, what do you mean?
They found out I was dating women in a very dramatic way, but it is what it is. Low key, like, they didn't kick me out, but I couldn't live there no more, if that made any sense. And
how old were you when that happened?
It was right after I came home from college, so I was probably like 20, 21.
And
But
you were not a full-time musician at this time when you let them know, or?
that was right when the band broke up, low key. So I was transitioning from Sis
Yeah,
to Reesa Renee.
got it.
That
And
was
this
in like the process.
The Go-Go Band.
Correct.
Got
But Got
it.
Me Loose was written already.
Okay.
Got Me Loose was actually written and recorded
Wow.
at that time, but it was recorded with that band.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back and re-recorded that at a later time to have the version that everybody knows now. But yeah, at that time, Crystal Waters actually gave me a place to stay. And I lived with her in the family, maybe, and I've never told this story.
And this is Crystal Waters, who has a hit song.
Yeah.
Yes, La Da Dee, La Da Da, or Gypsy Woman. Got it.
Yep, and many more.
And many more.
She's still all the way active too.
Yes.
So shout out and respects like 1,000%, because she supported me in a time that I really needed it, and I know she did. She touched me like personally, you know. But I know there are generations of people who can probably tell stories about how she's touched them as well. But
So she gave you a place to stay.
And really like really just, you know, poured into my life, just her family in general. I won't. Yeah.
So Got Me Loose was a song that you created with the Go-Go Band that your brother helped to MD.
So yes.
Okay.
This Got Me Loose story, right?
Okay.
Pre-Apollo.
Okay, pre-Apollo.
I'm in Charlotte because that's where I went to college. I used to skip class to play basketball. Don't ask. I should have just went to school for basketball, but I did not. You know, I was just involved in some things. I was drinking real heavy. Like, you know, I was just like.
How old were you when you were drinking?
I started when I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah. I started when I was 16, and I've actually been sober for 3 months. Woo, woo, woo. Long time I've been sober since then, low key. Yeah. But drinking, and, you know, just trying to find an escape. I was kind of lost at the time, and I had lost 2 of my really good friends in a car accident.
At 16.
I was 18 or 19.
Okay.
And I actually wrote a song, Invisible, about that whole thing. Wow. Song and video about that. But either way, at that time, I was really looking for an outlet. I was trying to finish up school. Like, I was just broken up with the situation. I was just really trying to get myself together. And I fell real heavy in poetry. And then my brother used to always make beats. Like, my brother been tight. Like, back in high school, he used to have a PlayStation in his car with, like, a TV screen, because he, like, sold some beats to a mainstream artist at that time.
Okay.
Under the table, though. So he doesn't have any credits for it, but he had the money. Like, you could look at his stuff and see,
Are you
know.
able to say who the mainstream artist was?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him, so I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it. Because I didn't ask him, and I don't know.
Okay.
So when I went to school,
Yeah.
I would always push my brother's music. It was just a thing. So I used to always push his music. When I got into that period of time in my life, I just found myself, like, writing a lot of poetry, and, like, I really just started writing to his beats, which was alias for me. I'm like, bro, I wrote a song. Da, da, da. He's like, okay. So I'm hanging out with one of my homies in, like, the caf or something. They got a piano. My homie's on the piano playing. And I had my notepad, I had my pen, and I promise you, Got Me Loose just fell out. It wasn't like I was sitting there, like, scratching my brain or, like, scratching out lyrics on a jam. I promise you, like, I just, bloop, 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 like, they just came out like water. I promise it did. And I ended up bringing that song home, and my brother was having rehearsal that night, and I was like, yo, I got this record, let's just do it. So while we're in there, I'm singing. My brother just starts playing keys on the piano, and then the drummer starts playing like the beat to it, and there you have it. Got Me Loose was born. Yeah. So, you know, we performed. Once I moved back home with it, it was getting good traction. It felt good. I was excited, you know. And I'm pretty sure we recorded it very shortly after that. We recorded that and some other records that we had been working on at the time.
So what was the band name before?
I ain't saying that either. Y'all not going to find that.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing, though. T-Mont, I want to say his name is. Connect with T-Mont, and he might still have
Okay.
that record.
Okay.
He might still have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's kind of like a couple of questions I want to ask out of that, but before I go to that, I want to, how did you find a love for what you do?
Um,
Was it in the instrumentation and learning all those instruments when you were growing up? Was it the church and?
consciously,
Mm-hmm.
consciously, I would say it was when music became my outlet.
Yeah.
It was that exact story I just told, like finding the poetry and how good it felt to finally be able to express myself. Like all the things that I had gone through up until that point, it felt like I finally found my voice. And there have been so many years in my life where my voice was anger or aggressive, you know what I'm saying? And I know people like you who know me now, you're like,
Yeah.
what? But
Right.
people who knew me then, they like, hell yeah, she ain't lying. Like, I used to go off, and quite often, you know what I'm saying? But when I sung, the reaction that I spiritually had to it, and then the reaction that other people had to it was like, whoa. Like, my brother cried when he first heard me sing. I'm like, what? Like, huh? Like, this nigga don't cry. Like, what's happening right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, just people's responses to what my freedom at that time, like, did for them, like, moved me in so many different ways. And I really felt like I was finally understood, if that made sense. Unconsciously, again, like, if I look through music throughout my life, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense until that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were you always singing?
No.
Okay, so
Never
talk
singing.
about that. Yeah.
My mother, and we're still looking for these tapes to this day. So me and my brother used to have the cassette tapes, right? One, we would record our own mixtapes on the radio, like the different hits or whatever the case may be. But then we would also record ourselves. So my mother would have, like, you know, the little mic with the little tape player where you could record or whatever. My brother would be beating on the back, and I'd be singing and rapping on the tapes or whatever. So once again, like, unconsciously it made sense. But no, I wasn't really like a singing jump. You know what I'm saying? I actually used to kind of despise people that sung a little bit. Only because, and I mean this in the most genuine way, like, they would sing all the time. Like, you don't have to sing all the time. Like, we get it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if me and you hang out, right?
Yeah.
And we at a restaurant or something, and I'm doing runs or singing extra stuff, you're gonna be like, Reesa, chill out. Like, we get it. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
No, I never really sang. And honestly, to this day, like, people ask me all the time, like, I really only sing when I'm performing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I gotten a little bit better with it, but I'm just not. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, would you say the first time you really started singing was in your 20s?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, legitimate. Yeah, in my opinion.
Wow. And you just had this whole full voice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Were you like singing to yourself a lot, and you were just?
No, I'm trying to tell you, it was like I finally found my voice. I don't know. It just felt like the way I feel. It was way more spiritual then. Not to say it's not spiritual now. It's just a little bit different because I've been doing it for so long. But again, we can get into that. But it's just the way it felt. I can't even explain to you. It's just like such a spiritual thing. Like, I don't know. It just felt good.
Yeah. So, in talking about your past a little bit, about the like all these things that were coming up. So there was challenges at home. Were those the only challenges? Like what was happening inside of home? What was really, because you said those words just came out. And yeah.
I think sexuality.
Okay.
In itself, and it's it's deeper than just like being a part of the community. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always been so taboo, if you will. And I was exposed to it young. And to
the community young.
Not the community, sexuality.
Yeah.
I was exposed to sexuality very young. And I think to have a child experience something like that and then kind of throw them off into the world kind of like on their own, I was over sexualized, you know what I'm saying? And not just even in my exposure from, an adult, but then now I'm amongst my peers like, woo, I just don't know this, or I don't know how, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just completely, like, in it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can
By
you expound
myself.
on that though? Being in it.
In it, like exploring,
Oh
you
yes.
know,
Okay.
like just curiosity, you know what I'm saying? It just exposed me, and then to have like being an immature child, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't know, I can't.
Are you just saying that you were probably a little more prudish? You were a little bit more just, happy, go lucky, and then these situations kind of came into your life and showed you all these boundaries and barriers, or.
I would
And
say
only what you're comfortable.
no,
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool. I would say that my exposure to sex and again, like sexuality at that time, I wasn't mature enough to be able to carry that type of baton.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotcha.
I didn't know how to, especially in a culture where it's taboo.
Right.
So nobody really talks about it.
Right.
But it's happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about exposure like 8, 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you can't even talk to your parents about what's really going on.
Yeah.
So then you're talking to other people your age, and then we're all
and
like,
they don't know.
No, yeah, it's just confusing as shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to grow up and just kind of in that arena, to get burned, like I had a really hard middle school era, if you will. I would blame because of my exposure or whatever. Where I just had a lot of identity issues, you know what I'm saying? And then in high school, I'm so grateful for my high school. I'm so grateful for sports and basketball because that really just took the focus off of what was happening at that particular time, or like, right, that phase right before, and just really shoved me into like discipline and working out and traveling and doing things I love again, like being outside, like as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like just doing things I really loved and appreciated. And I would say that, basketball had its own challenges. I tore my ACL when I was 10, right? Riding a bike. Damn it. And I was so good. And I'm not just saying that. I was actually pretty good, okay? So I tear my ACL when I'm 10, and I have to sit out for 4 years because they don't want to close the growth plates in my knee. So I can't play sports for 4 years, right? The biggest trauma happened in that 4-year time period. So again, lost in it, right?
Got it.
So then come my freshman year of high school, I had to do a year of rehab after I got my surgery. I lucked out. The coach of the team, JV, used to be my coach when I was growing up. So after I do my rehab, he's like, Reesa, come play ball. You been trying to play ball? And I'm like, hell yeah, let's play some ball. But, I missed 4 years of very important development. So I had to learn fast. You know what I'm saying? And thank God I was around an old coach and my best friend, shout out B-Dub. We was playing together since we was 8 years old. So I had her and my family at McNamara or whatever. And we won the championship that year. And then I had the opportunity a year after to play for a nationally ranked team on varsity. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many blessings amidst all of the challenges and struggles. And I'm grateful to God that he gave me like that. What did they say? Remember when Noah went out and they brought him the plant to let him know that there was land. Yes, I'm glad I got plants every now and again. Like, you're not just out here starving on your own, girl. You know what I'm saying? Throughout my life, you know what I'm saying? And there's many different phases where that has happened again and again and again and again. But again, like music for me in that beginning time period when Release came out and we did all that we did with Release was, again, an area where I got that plan again, where it's like, okay, here's your voice. Here's your voice again. Here is the beginning phases of how all that shit you went through then can make sense and actually help somebody else.
When did the writing start happening?
The who?
The writing. When did you start songwriting?
Songwriting happened with Got Me Loose, I'm trying to tell you.
So that was your first, oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Writing, I've written since I was a kid.
Okay.
Poetry. Yeah. A little bit, but mostly like journaling and random.
So then, okay. So how did the band start with your brother? Was that when once he heard Got Me Loose?
No, he already had it in the works.
Okay.
And I was away in college, and then
okay.
I came home for a break or something and did the record with him. And then
Mm-hmm.
by the time I moved back, because I ended up dropping out of school or whatever, but by the time I moved back, the band was full-fledged.
Hold on. So that was the only song you had. You went back. You went to school. He's developing the band and the song. You come home, and then
We hitting.
What?
Yeah.
So okay, were there like a whole bunch of gigs, or you guys were doing open mics? Like, how did that?
I'm gonna be
happen?
honest, it's all a blur.
Really?
But
okay.
that is how I met my first business partner, Sam.
Okay.
Because Sam was doing business with my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and we would do A&T all the time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So my brother was in bands all the time. He used to have a band called Hood Band, and I remember the first time I met G and Wincy was at a gig that his name is Pat, and Sam threw at A&T. So back then, the Go-Go's, not that they are all the way safe now, but they really weren't safe then. That was like
Definitely
Mad Chef days, like,
Yeah.
you know, niggas was getting shot. So the way you could experience a good Go-Go, a safe Go-Go, but a lit Go-Go was at A&T, in my opinion, because they would come down there all the time because of the in-state tuition. A lot of people from the DMV went to school at A&T. So there was a very heavy DC, PG presence at A&T, and all the Go-Go bands would come there. So I went to school in Charlotte. Man, every month or 3 weeks or whatever the case may be, we pack up that car, pull up on my brother, and go to the Go-Go's.
Wow. Steadily getting inspired. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, all the time.
So how did the decision to go to the Apollo come? Was that after like a bunch of gigs at A&T? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, so that is... So the Go-Go's...
And let me know if I'm going too far.
No. I'm just trying to help you with a timeline.
Got it.
I know I can be all over the place.
Yeah.
But, so the Go-Go's at A&T, when I first met Wincy and G, that was when my brother was still in school.
Okay.
My brother moves home. I'm still in school. But he's home. Developing the band. I come home, sing Got Me Loose, blah, blah, blah. I'm out there again. I was like, you know what? I'm gone. Move back home. Start gigging with the band. We do gigs again, like back in North Carolina. Some at home as well. And then the band breaks up.
Okay.
Right?
Why did the band break up?
Probably a bunch of reasons.
Okay.
But we broke up.
Okay. Band breaks up.
Band breaks up. And I'm, you know, out in these streets again, you know what I'm saying? But I'm living with, you know, with Crystal Waters and family.
That's right.
Right.
We are on part 2 with Dior Ashley Brown, July 1st, visiting with Reesa Renee on behalf of DC Music Summit and the Humanities DC Oral History Collaborative. All right. And you were speaking about this picture that keeps getting grabbed up on Amazon. We were going into a story.
Girl, yes. Yes. So, really big photo shoot, right?
Okay.
About 6 months later, my brother is like, Reesa, you know, photos are really good. I'm going to throw a party where we can officially launch your music career. I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Like, which actually was really dope because, again, like, we hadn't really been interacting with each other since the band had broken up. And it had been a good, like, year. If you listen to my record, Waste Away, that is what it's about, actually, low-key.
The breakup of the band.
It's about my healed relationship with my brother, but
Oh.
how time was wasting away in the interim because I knew we had more things to create, if that made any sense.
Yeah, I want to know why there was a breakup with your brother. Okay. Understood. Got it.
You know, sibling things.
Yeah,
you know.
okay, yes. I do understand sibling things.
It was just, we go through seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
you grow up, you had conflict in some areas, and you just find a happy medium on where you exist. And
so it wasn't like a business thing?
No.
And that's what I was wondering. Okay, got it.
No.
Okay,
and we're good to this day, too, but again, you know, it fluctuates the older you get. Yeah, life happens. Yeah. So we're good now. But anyway, so he was like, I'm going to help with the show or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. At that time, Sam, my first original manager and business partner, was all a part of it, right? And he had a club called Martin's on 9th and U Street.
Oh, get out.
Yeah,
Okay.
1919 U Street is what it used to be. So we threw the party there. I had all of my clients come, obviously, like from the gym I was working
Oh,
out
this
at.
is to feature you as an artist.
Like officially,
gotcha.
like
Officially.
this is it. Like
nice.
you're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we did it. We had a show, and that really marked the beginning of a great time. Like an era, I couldn't even say. I've been. Well, I guess we'll talk current later, but it just really marked a really great time. Around that time, my brother we had what we call the Crank Factory.
Okay.
Which was
yeah.
the house he was standing in at the time.
Oh, I think I heard that before
which
too.
was the house we grew up in.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to imagine a bunch of creatives, 24 hours a day. We all in our 20s, like we kids, just like music instruments everywhere, studio everywhere. Like when I tell you we was creating all day nonstop, like it was just so much fun. We would rehearse all day. And around that time was around the time I also met Silk, which is a drummer that I've worked with for the last like 10 years or whatever. And when I met him, he would come over and we would just all jam. Amanda, Lotus Vaughn is her name now. And we just all used to just jam. And at that time, we were booking gigs because Got Me Loose was...
Come on.
And so, and this is going to be like a year's worth of story. I'm going to try to sum up for you. And at that time, yeah, we were gigging, doing that. I had gigs all up and down the East Coast, man. And we did a gig in Harlem. We had a event with this promoter. It's a joke now, but his name was Kay Lamonte. I'll never forget him. And I used to do open mics all the time. So I did an open mic in Harlem. And the first time I went up there, it's actually a video on YouTube that you can find. There was a house band, and I jumped up on stage and I performed Got Me Loose, and people was like singing with me at that point. I was so nervous. Like that was like like swaggy Reesa. And the vibe was there. So they invited me back. The second time I go back, Al Sharpton is in the crowd, right? Do the gig, go home, whatever. And we get a call. And they're like, hey, Reesa, we want you to come perform at Apollo. And I'm like, Apollo? Like, what? First of all, y'all still do that? Like, because it wasn't televised at the time, but it was still happening. So I'm like, yeah, I want to go, right? But they're like, here's a catch. You got to do a cover. And at that point in my career, I never sang covers, and I don't say that like I'm too good for it, but you remember what I was saying about people singing all the time? Like singing just wasn't my thing. Like, and honestly, to this day, like, and people have given me different viewpoints on how to look at it, and I'm still processing, but I can't sing no song like my song. I can't sing no words like words that come right from here, like out of my heart, like just the way in which I fell into doing this in the first place, and I just really can't and haven't been able to confidently really sing a cover unless I'm goofing off, singing with the album or singing with my friends and we having a good time. I just really can't like tap in, you know what I'm saying? Not to say I can't now, I'm matured a lot more, but it just wasn't really something I felt comfortable doing, right? So, we was going back and forth and it's just like, yo, I can't do no cover. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'll come do my song, though. Like, no problem. And they like, okay, like, give it a shot. So here I am, in my 20s, going to Apollo, performing an original song, and then performing Go-Go in New York in, like, 2011. 2010, 2011. Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what?
We were not commercial
nah,
at all.
Chuck, and you know what I'm saying? But not like that, right? So I was like, all right, like, if we're going to do it, we're going out there. I was so ballsy then, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I still am now, but at that point, it was just like, fuck it, like, we just go and do it. We here. So I get to Apollo. We're all down in the green room. And so you meet everybody. And
who's everybody?
The other contestants.
Oh, got it.
So whoever else is going to be on the show or whatever. And so we're all down in the green room. They walk us up there. This is what it's going to be like. You see the audience, blah, blah, blah. You sound check, blah, blah, blah. Showtime comes. Theater packed. everybody's sitting downstairs. So they come and be like, such and so and so. And you go upstairs, grab your instruments, go upstairs and do your thing. Some people will go up and get cheered. Some people will go up and get booed. Come back down in good spirits or come back down crying, grabbing their shit and like leaving type situation. So I'm just like, Lord, like, I'm new to the environment. But again, I just had this swag and this confidence about me. I knew I was so proud to represent not just the area, but just represent my journey. I was so happy to just be in the mix. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I'm gonna just go up this joint and just go for it, like do my thing. And when I went, I wasn't thinking about winning. Really wasn't thinking about the competition side of it. I was just happy to be in that historic theater and to be able to perform and be a part of that night. So to go up there, to have a house band playing go-go, they don't necessarily know how to do that, do it right, but they did it. I did it. And later on the end of the night, I found out I was the second person in 3 years to win off an original song. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And that just was like it for me, like it's like, okay, you take cool pictures, cool. You feel music, woo, yeah. You wrote a song, cool. You know what I'm saying? Right. But girl, you just won Apollo? What? And at that point, I was just like, yo, I can really do this. Like, wow. That amped me up so much, like, and really just motivated me, like, yo, like, I might really be on to something. You know what I'm saying? And to be quite honest with you, I'm not going to lie. Like, the next 5 to 7 years, we was just on that gas pedal. You know what I'm saying? We was just on it, and it was the people around me were hungry. We were, we weren't tainted, you know what I'm saying, by the industry or nothing. Like, we was just feeding off of each other's energy, you know what I'm saying? It was just a thing, So that next year after winning Apollo, we were still getting booked for gigs, and it was me. It wasn't like we were a band at this point, but they were my band and they were my family, you know what I'm saying? And we really came up together. And we were getting booked. First it was like 20-minute gigs, and it was 30-minute gigs. Then it was hour gigs. Then it was 2 45-minute sets, And once we started bumping up from the 30 minutes to the hour, it was like, yo, we got to write some more records. We don't have enough content to get these checks.
Right.
So what did we do? We started writing more records.
Wow.
And that's how my first album came together.
Okay.
Because we, DC is a music city, you know what I'm saying? And we was out here having a great time. Of course, it was not about the money in any way, shape, or form.
Can't be.
Especially with a 10-piece band.
Right.
Come on now. We wasn't really making bread like that, but we were breaking even. You know what I'm saying? Yes. We were having a hell of a time
breaking even.
doing what we had to do,
And that's thriving.
Yeah.
That's thriving.
And at that time, the original music was not as embraced as it is now. And at that time, I was every night, we went on a stage. I was just so proud and happy to not even just showcase myself, but showcase my brother's production and showcase Ant Farm Music is what he goes by now. But he's like an artist now in himself. But he was my MD at the time. Putting together my shows.
And this is your brother?
No, Ant is not my
Ant,
brother.
Ant.
Yeah,
Ant
okay. is MD now. He does Top 5 band now. But,
Uh-huh.
With Ant and Silk and everybody being from the area, and Charlie played with me for a little bit too, and Jay Rojas was around for a long bit of time, just to have all this local, I don't want to say local, but homebred talent with me and around me. It was we had so much flipping fun, yo. So come August the following year of winning Apollo, I want to say, I released Wonderland Cool video, which in itself made a statement like that. To this day is my most watched video. I think Ask Around Town might have outdone it recently, but Wonderland Cool was it. And at that time, Got Me Loose was the one that was really pumping. Easy was pumping me on the radio. Like DJ Big John was supporting me at that time. But we came out with Wonderland Cool. Very first video I wrote the script to. And then that one's doing good. You know what I'm saying? So that was crazy. And then we released Got Me Loose, a single, and then Release the album.
How did it feel? How did it feel to have all those multiple gigs coming up after Apollo, and then the radio's pumping you? And how did it feel? Like, did you feel like you were the sound of DC at that time, or the DMV at the time?
The only reason I would feel that way is because of the feedback I get post, like looking back on that time. But during that time, I was just so happy to be doing what we were doing. I was so happy to go into an environment where, the audience is, expecting to hear you go out a set, and you don't. You may have some go records. At that time, I was doing To the Go. And I also had Got Me Loose, which we could, keep it, nice little pocket going on. But I had records like Wonderland Cool, where we would break it down and do like the, you know what I'm saying?
So
like
cool.
We was doing original shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they were loving it. That was the best part about it, I know you said the DMV showing love or whatever the case may be, but DMV, DC, like, has always shown me love.
Okay.
No matter like what we threw at them, like, and that is really what was the foundation for everything that I was doing. And I don't say it was ever a time that I took any of that for granted. I've always been super appreciative that it was the kind of the backbone and helped me perfect my set. It helped springboard, some of the, in my opinion, best musicians out of this area. Some of them, I came up with Black Alley. Like, I've got pictures, me and Casey, I was just purging my social media, and I found this old pic of me and Casey probably from like 2012 or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, gigs we used to do all the time together, you know what I'm saying? And to just see the growth of this area and where it's at right now, with go-go, with original music, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew it was coming. I felt it when I was doing what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm so grateful that we are at the level that we are at, you know what I'm saying?
What does the term DMV mean to you? And was it a term that you grew up hearing?
Grew up, no. Where you from? I'm from PG, you know what I'm saying? Now, when I moved away, you say you're from PG, they be like, where? Oh, Lord. Right. I'm from DC. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you say you from Maryland, back then, they'd be like, oh, you from Baltimore. No, I'm not from Baltimore. I'm from Prince George's County, right outside of, you know what I'm saying? Right outside of the city, you know what I'm saying? Could throw a rock at it. Yep. All my gigs, like, DC, you know what I'm saying? DC been supporting me for a really long time. But, being from the area, I understand that, people have embraced DMV a lot more than they used to in the past. But certain people from the city, feel some type of way about, Maryland ass niggas claiming the city. But, I spent so much time in it and have been embraced by it. Like, it's my zone, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm happy to see Virginia be embraced as well. Like, because at the end of the day, I think Pusha T said it best in his latest rant or whatever, but we are a very small area. Yes, and at the end of the day, like, we need to have each other's backs and just continue to support one another, you know what I'm saying? And the better and more open to that you are, again, hopefully that'll be able to springboard us even further, towards a better, more copious
And you're saying that also because from your own experience, you haven't seen evidence of that in the past.
What you mean?
Like a DMV collaborating as much, or did you?
Depends on what you mean by that.
So, well, Pusha T was saying that we needed to link arms, that the DMV needs to link arms in order to, I guess, compete with like New York and other, music, powerful cities. Do you feel you saw that growing up? Did you see? Do you
before
think
music?
Before Pusha in this whole conversation.
Oh, I said that.
Yeah, did you?
I mean, I think people been saying it.
Okay.
But let's think of this. Let's think this. How many people from DC, or Maryland, right? And I know we can name a bunch, right? Are like mainstream, and then how many are mainstream, and then also have one hand in the streets. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people like that, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Or even just kind of on that type of platform, I guess you could say, that somebody like Pusha T can say something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have Wale, which all complete respect to him for what he's done for the area. Consistently, he's got hits, he's got records. I seen an interview where Money was just talking about that. He's like, how many #1 records, you know what I'm saying? Like, this man has really put out and consistently, and he really has. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of applaud him on doing that. You don't have no choice but to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think somebody like that bringing light to it is necessary. But I think niggas been saying that for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe now it's just being heard a little bit more because we are in an era. Yeah. I mean, Pharrell just brought something in the water to DC. You know what I'm saying? And we can unpack that as well. But you know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. That said a lot for DC, Maryland, and Virginia. That's you know what I'm saying? That to me did a lot. For some, I mean, maybe they like, you know what I'm saying, to it. But for me, that was a lot, in my opinion. The way he put a lot of people on from the area, dug into the community. Fucking Black Alley was his back line.
Isn't that crazy?
Yo,
I was staring at the stage like...
when he said that shit, right? Yeah. I was in this area, right? And so they was like, who? And I said, wait a minute. Did he just say Black Alley?
He said
I was
Black
like, yeah.
He showed DC so much love.
He did. He had Damo on the set, Sounds of the City on the set. You know what I'm saying?
Backyard was there.
Backyard on the set. Rare Essence.
Rare Essence, Junkyard.
3-0 Black. Ray Strumman brought on 3-0. Like, Nucci and them was backstage. I didn't see Malik back there. Like, all the photographers. So I believe Carnegie was there. You know, Sean Cooper was there. Like... it's a lot of people, you know, that were in the mix, and Madness and Flippin' Museum collabed on a
I got my shirt.
Girl, first of all, Pharrell, I feel some type of way because he got so much money out of me for this damn
He sure did.
And I did not mind. You can have all of my money.
I did the same thing.
All of my monies. I gave it up. You hear me?
Yeah. But how did you feel about Something in the Water being here?
I felt great about it. Like I just said, like, you know, everything I just shared about it. Now I did go to the Something in the Water in Virginia Beach in 2019.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And if I had anything not so great to say about it, I will say it wasn't enough space. Yeah. And I knew that when I got there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I went very early the first day trying to get this merch. Thank God he released them online because I got them online because they didn't have it there the first day. But on the main stage, there was like this thing right in the middle of the, like, it split the two areas, and then there was like a main area. Yes. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be a problem. I just knew it was going to be a problem. Yeah. So I got there early, so nobody was really there yet. And then I walked all the way to the other end, and the other stage was way more open. And I was like, this should have been the main stage. And just like I anticipated, you know, it wasn't enough space for all those people to be able to really enjoy the show. And then you're standing there watching it on the screen, but it's like at least you're there. And then I went by myself. I couldn't imagine if it was somebody's first festival. I couldn't imagine if they came with like 7 friends and really wanted to stay together, like if they were young. Like, it just doesn't really work. It was way too many people. Yep. I was blessed though. I think that it might have just been the powers that be. I will say I am anticipating more involvement on a professional level in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe perform or be able to get some better access so I don't have to finagle the way I did. But either way, I'm going finagle. Yeah. But I was able to finagle like up close to the front of the stage the first night and right in the middle when Tyler was there. And then the night Usher was there, I didn't mind where I was standing because I could still
I saw it, yeah.
But I think the first year there were layers to it. Yeah. Like you could be 100, 200 feet back and still see the stage. You know, you're on a beach that's so wide, so deep. Yeah. You know, so they did have the screens, but you could still see that big ass stage up there. So I would hope, you know, and I understand he maybe wanted it on Independence Avenue. I don't really know the whys he did it that way, but I will hope if and when he brings it back to DC, he will consider bringing it to a more open space so people can actually see and enjoy more than even 500-600 people. I think he said it's like 50,000 people there.
50,000 people. I was there. It was crazy. Yeah. I kind of think like maybe even the Monument area. There's a lot of places to venture. Yeah, but maybe more of the controlled.
It's just not enough space. So other than that, though, I am very grateful. I've loved Pharrell pre-Happy Pharrell. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been a fan of him for a very, very long time.
You mentioned Nerd earlier. So,
yeah. And if you look back at my old interviews, they're like, one question I hate people to ask me, and I'm so happy to not ask me, is describe your sound. right?
Right.
It's getting asked this shit all the time. But my response will always be, I feel as though, and this is back in the beginning, that I am if Jill Scott and Pharrell had a baby,
Wow.
and if Chuck Brown was the Godfather.
Oh, wow.
And there's
me. There it is.
So, yeah, I was pressed he brought it here.
So let me ask you this. How did you know you wanted music to be your career, and is it your career?
Is it my career? Absolutely, it's my career.
Yeah.
How did I know? Again, it really started off really personal, really innocent. You know, I would say, 10 years in, like, there's still parts of the business that I could get better at. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it ever stops.
Yeah, and I was so there's different. I was reading something and it was like, there's different phases of my business. Some seasons I'm all about the money.
Yeah.
Pay me, pay me, pay me.
Yeah.
Other seasons I'm all about, the community. You know what I'm saying? Wherever, plug me in, And for me it's like there was a very deep season where I was all about the writing, all about the creating, all about songs, you know what I'm saying? And there was other seasons all about the show and all about the, stage presence and, this line here and this part there, you know what I'm saying? And right now I'm in a phase where, I've written and I continue to write. I think it's important to kind of keep that wheel going. But I'm in a phase now where, one, it's all about scripting for me right now. I'm really putting my eggs together for this next push, And I think when I first started, it was cool to kind of stumble in and just be like, man. And it kind of worked out that way to just kind of throw things out and the timing. And I had way more people on my team at the time who were readily and available, you know what I'm saying? But now, in the phase that I'm in and, my circle or lack thereof, you know what I'm saying? I'm not complaining at all, though. I've really had time to, one, process a lot of personal things. So remember I was telling you, like, when he extends that olive branch, I was back kind of in that period where I had to come to the one with myself. A very dark place in my life. I'm not gonna lie, and it wasn't all just the pandemic. I've struggled with mental health for a while. You know what I'm saying? Officially diagnosed with bipolar disorder in my early 20s or whatever. A really close friend of mine actually helped me diagnose it, and I went to the doctor and they was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, wow. Man. So, just dealing with that and dealing with depression and, just really feeling isolated, and then the pandemic happens, and I'm a perfectionist, so, when it comes to my art and when it comes to my presentation, of that art, I'm very particular about that, Wow. Yeah. And to enter a different phase in my involvement with the people around me, and again, to kind of be forced to kind of deal with my own skeletons and process and, I wouldn't say I wasn't happy with the music I was creating because I'm grateful for it and it told a story. But it was a certain cockiness, I would say, that irked me. I didn't really like.
In yourself that you found. Oh, that's real.
Yeah.
That is real.
And I was just like, You know what I'm saying? I really had to kind of just look in the mirror and be like, you need to have a seat. For real. And think about why are you doing this again? You know what I'm saying? And I guess the reality of being an artist and being vulnerable and creating music ultimately, you think about the why again. I had to realign with why I was making music, why I was posting pictures. I felt, and maybe I was overthinking it, but, I'm posting pictures of myself all the time. I felt so vain after a while. What the fuck? Why? You know what I'm saying? Let's post something else. I'm glad
you was asking yourself questions.
Yeah, I just really had to
But there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just, because the culture that we're in. But I am glad that you were let me just look and see.
Let me just
go see what's going on.
Yeah, reevaluate what's happening, And I actually haven't talked about this yet. And I plan to. I was actually trying to figure out how. But I guess for the sake of, listeners and just transparency and wherever, I'm viewed now, or wherever I end up in the future in terms of my continued success. I went through a breakdown. I literally broke down and had to unplug from the world most of 2021.
Wow.
Like hospitalized.
Okay.
Down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, nothing, music, I think it's so crazy. Like, because again, I told you I just purged all my pictures and organized all my videos and stuff. And music I've been creating through it all, which is crazy to me. Somehow, some way, still writing records and doing shit like that, you know. But I guess in 2021, I really wasn't writing either, though. I did write a couple songs, though. Because I pop in, pop out, go in the hospital for a month, pop out, go in the hospital for 2 months, pop out. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, man. It was crazy, man. It was crazy. Listen. It was crazy, man.
And you have such a great disposition. You couldn't tell. Your smile, everything is just like, it's so bright. Yeah.
I'm revived now.
Yeah,
but
wow.
I tell you, like, I sleep all day. And now, granted, you know, I was on a lot of medications at the time. Mm-hmm. I had no urge to get out of the bed. Like, I had no light. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was just, like, completely fizzled out. Wow. And that really caused me to reevaluate the people I allowed around me. That allowed me to reevaluate the access emotional access I allowed in terms of what I gave and what was reciprocated or lack thereof. It made me reevaluate a lot of my life's decisions, and that just, you know, high-strung era I went through. I went through a very high-strung era. It made me reevaluate. Like, I failed a lot. You know, I recently released a project entitled The Cure in February. But I'm not sure, you know, how abreast to my journey you guys were. But 2017 was probably one of my loudest years. Yeah, and when I mean loud, I mean like industry loud.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you mind. I remember seeing some of those magazines come up about that time. If you wanted to pull some of that.
So, we have the Washington Post magazine happened that year. Cover. Mm-hmm.
But don't lose your train of thought. I remember these things.
We can talk more in depth because these stories are crazy too.
Yeah.
But I just want to give the rawness of kind of what happened. But 2007 was crazy. Tours with T.I.
Yeah,
covers
I want to hear
of
about
magazines. Jazzy Jeff playlist sessions. I was up and down in Philly working on this project. I had a road manager, back and forth to L.A. Like, I was moving them, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't, I don't, this is one aspect of it, right? An internal kind of looking at it from a healed standpoint. I think everything did happen for a reason, and I was ready in terms of my execution. For instance, Yaya and I at the time, I put a video out about this as well, with the T.I. tour. In 1 year, I want to say it might have been 2015 or 2016, we released
And who is Yaya?
Yaya is my videographer.
Got it.
My videographer at the time. We released 10 videos that year. 10 music videos.
Wow.
So little did we know, a year later, I would get booked, and I'll talk about that in a second, for the T.I. tour, and he has this big-ass screen behind the stage. So I had my videos. I was the only other artist that had visuals playing behind them while they were performing. And I just jumped on the tour. You know, everybody else is like, I don't know if they were on a label with them or not, but, you know, they're touring. Like, they're booked on the tour. Quick backstory, though. I was performing at Fox News for the Funk Parade and promoting the Funk Parade. And I remember that. Yep. I had a band in there. So, you know, we messing around, you know, doing our thing in that jump. And Young Dro was in there. And there was a gentleman, another artist's name was Translee, and his manager was there. And so we're goofing off. We do the segment, and then we're all working. Shout out Five, who has recently released an album, New York nigga. Ari was with me at the time, and that's she's touring with Beyonce and Lizzo and everything
Ari
now.
Lennox.
No, not even Ari Lennox. Ari, the guitar player.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, yes.
So we they was like, yeah, we got a show at the Howard Theater. Just come through. So I'm like, all right, bet. Come through the Howard Theater, right? Talking to Translee, and Translee's manager comes over, and he's like, yo, I just wanted to officially invite you to come perform on the tour. I'm like, yes. Right. Catch, though, you have to get to the cities. So you can perform, but you got to find your own way to get there. So I'm like, there's no way in hell.
Oh, no, this is T.I.'s
Hustle Gang tour. No. This is one of the artists on the tour's manager. But I guess he got the green to be like, come on, but you got to figure out how to get there. So I'm like, budget. Okay. So I'm like, it's no way I'm passing this opportunity up. At this point, and at every point in my career, you know, and I'm looking forward to the time I'm able to finally like talk on the other end. And maybe it's always a hustle, but I'm trying to hustle different, and that's what I've been working on since I've healed. But, you know, I was just like, you know what? We've been grinding this shit out for the last 8 years at this point. Like, we going to continue to grind this shit out. And I got together with my publicist at the time and a woman I was dating at the time, and they put it on the line. We drove to Richmond. We drove to Philly. We drove to... What else did we do?
And how close were these moving from each place? How close were these city tours that you were... Were they 2 weeks away from each other or a couple of days?
No, days.
Wow.
2-3 days.
Okay.
2-3 days. So we were able to connect the dots. So like when I did Philly, I had already been in Philly for like a year, grinding, working on an album. Is this with
the whole band too? When you're doing
no,
these?
This is Reesa. This is Reesa by herself.
You. Okay.
Reesa. Yep, this is me. And so, yeah, no, definitely. They couldn't even pay for me to get there. But didn't even want to pay for me to get there. So they definitely not paying for no band.
Yeah,
but at that point, I was prepared, man. We could do whatever you need. You need a 10-person band show, or you need me and a DJ. I'm going to bring it.
Okay.
One person, 1,000 people. I don't care. So we drove out. The cool thing about Philly, though, like we were just able to connect the dots. So people probably would never know the hustle we had to do to get there. But Philly specifically, my road manager, shout out Tone, was, you know, working his network there, and we did the TLA. I want to say,
is that Tone P or
no, not Tone P, not to be related to Tone P.
Okay, got it.
Walking Bear is his name. But he connected a newspaper. Yeah. So I'm in town for the Hustle Gang tour, and I got a little blurb in the Philly newspaper. Because, you know, Tone helped work that out for me or whatever about being there, and then talking about another show that I was going to come back and do on my own type situation. So we always, like, plugging in and doing this and doing that. But anyway, I say all to say, like, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready type situation.
Come on. Yeah.
So I was able to, again, like, House of Blues. We did House of Blues before they closed down in New York because, you know, that don't even exist no more. But, yeah, we was able to do that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was all with T.I., you know what I'm saying? And, again, it was just a really dope time, you know.
How was it like opening up for him? Like, how were those shows like?
Oh, it was dope. It was cool. You know, I respect T.I. And at that time, so I don't remember what cities we were in at this point, but let's say we was in one city, and I wanted to meet him, and I'm backstage hanging out, me and my publicist or whatever. And I know T.I. is in the next room. He's like back in the back room. And I wish I remember the guy's name, but Translee's manager comes out and he's like, yeah, you trying to meet T.I.? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to meet him. So he's like, all right, hold on 1 second. So he goes and he comes back. He's like, yo, he's just not right now. I was like, okay, cool. No worries. I didn't ask. You came to me, so it's all good. Yeah. So I look over to my left and it's a piano there. So I'm like, oh, I got something, right? So I sit down on the piano and I start playing the piano. And I start singing while I'm playing the piano. Wow. Knowing he's on the other side of the wall. I tell you, I wasn't done playing maybe for like 2-3 minutes. And somebody came back over there and was like, yo, you can come with me now. So that was the first time I met him. And his I'm be honest, like, I know that my first initial thought was, damn, he's like really kingly. You know what I'm saying? Like he was very regal when I met him, you know what I'm saying? He was really laid back and cool, but he just had this, you know, energy about him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, I just let him know, I thanked him. I was like, yo, so dope. Thank you so much for having me. And like, yeah, you cool as shit, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. No pictures, no nothing. Yeah. So then I did a show. I think the last show I did with him was in Richmond. And again, they had shows all up and down the East Coast, East, West Coast, all over the place. I just couldn't self-fund it at that time. I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So the last show I did with them was in Richmond, and I
And
did
how
the
many
show,
shows do you, how many cities do you think you went?
like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And I've always been a humble person, you know what I'm saying? So, after I do the shows, I just go in the back and just mingle, go out, not in the back. There's too many damn people back there, right? So I killed the show on stage, and then I just came out and was in the crowd just like chilling. Like I'm trying to see him perform. Like I'm not about to just stay back here. Girl, I get out in the crowd, and this woman comes up to me. And she's basically like asking me who I am and did I just perform, da da da. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I was like, Renee's Reesa, da 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 da. Next thing I know, this woman grabs my hair. Not only does it, but yanks it. As if she was like trying to pull a wig off or something, girl. And it's so funny because I don't be thinking about like the offensive shit until after it happens.
Right, I know.
Because when it happened, immediately you would think I'd be like, oh, nah, it's on.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No bullshit. If Pinky was with me at that time, it probably would have been on. But Pinky wasn't with me, thank God. And I was like calm and chill enough to be like what? Like, what the fuck? Like, don't touch me. Like, don't touch me. Like, looked her dead in the face like, you better not touch me again, like, for real.
Right.
And I, like, stared her down, and she kind of just walked off.
This is in Philly.
This was in Richmond.
Oh, Richmond, excuse me, yeah.
So that's when I realized maybe I don't need to be out here.
Yeah.
So I went back to security, and I was like, yo, I can't stay out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gonna have to let me back in the back. Like, I'm not staying out here. So he was like, oh, okay, it's okay. Because I was with my...
because they don't know. You're talking about the audience. You didn't know because how the audience was acting. You couldn't be... I got you.
Yeah, I couldn't be out there because of how the audience was. I was good. I'm not about to get into a fight, a TI tour. No. This artist he done brought on is, beating bitches down or whatever. Like, no. But, my camp couldn't come with me. Yeah. So, and I'm not like this anymore. I'm sorry. Like, first of all, I go everywhere by myself at this point. Yeah. But I just can't do that. So anyway, I just wanted to be out there with them, but I was like, yo, I gotta go. So I went back in the back, and that was the time I met him for a second time. And, he thanked me for being on the tour. We took pictures, you know what I'm saying? It was just a really dope and cool experience. Yeah. So that was a cool time. Yeah. That was a really cool time.
Yeah. Wow. So that was tour with T.I. So talk about this Jazzy Jeff. Yeah. Did that come after or?
Jazzy Jeff was kind of like during. I was with Jazzy Jeff and them probably for about like a year. That was when I was really introduced to writing camps.
Okay.
So remember I was speaking to you about how like high strung I was at a point. Like there was a point where I was like, I ain't writing with nobody. I'm only writing with myself. Because it got to come from me and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. My homie Mickey, Mickey, Panama. Okay. She's the very first writer that I've ever worked with. We got a good chemistry. That's my homie. She's a Virgo too. That's my Gemini is what I call her. But with Jazzy Jeff, he would have like writing camps. And so me, Musina, Maya Muna.
Yeah, Mamuna.
Masego was the kind of couple.
Wow. Okay.
Gwen Bunn, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. Yep. She was at the playlist sessions. Okay. But, there would be just certain groups of people that would be at his session. Carvin. Have you heard Carvin Higgins? Higgins, he wrote a lot of music. Soul Childs co-wrote some of their records together or whatever. DJ Furno. I've met so many great people. Killiam Shakespeare, who was together at the time, which was Steve McKee and Corey Bernard. Great musicians who actually produced my last album, The Cure, and that came about with that whole Philly run. So I was working with Steve and Corey on The Cure. Girl, we did that album in 2 weeks. I had so much to say and so much to get out. Wow. And with that creative process, Steve would play drums for a lot of Jeff's records. You know what I'm saying? Not them all, but... So one of the writing sessions I went to, let's say, it would be people all over Jeff's house. So, like, people in the theater room. And then I wrote Love's Got Me on a pool table. Before I had to go back home to D.C., before I left, I was like, yo, I'm going to just drop this jump real quick. Did it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I gotta go. Next thing I know, Aaron Camper put a verse on that, and the record became what the record became.
Wow.
I've got records with Masego, but we never released any of them because we were just cutting and fooling around. You know what I'm saying? But Sir was also there.
Wow.
I met Tiffany Goucher there.
Wow, yeah,
Girl,
she's awesome.
Yes,
I met her
so
recently.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
woo, yeah, go y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, just again, the writing camps where we come in and just have producers and writers and everybody just placed all throughout the house just working on shit. You know what I'm saying? Just writing. Glenn Lewis actually did his project Chasing Goosebumps.
Get out
where
of
again
here.
he did that at Jeff's studio where we all specifically went in there to just all just vibe and write. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And it was a really dope learning experience. You know what I'm saying? So again, throughout that whole year, I was back and forth with Jeff because I would be coming down to Philly to cut with Steve and finish the album because writing's one thing, but mixing and arrangements and all that is a whole nother thing. And Vidal, who actually mixed Jill Scott's albums, he touched The Cure. There probably was about 4 or 5 different mixes. And to be honest, the same shit happened with Release. I am horrible at keeping up with files. And I lost everything, right? And it wasn't until last year, remember I told you I failed a lot, right? Yeah. It wasn't until like last year I realized I had saved some version of the masters in my Dropbox. And that's when I was like, yo, this is what I'm putting out. So who mixed this last mix? I have no idea. But that's all we have. There's nothing else. That's it. Those files that we have there. But again, all that came about at that time. So officially officially he invited me to the playlist sessions. I want to say that was 2017 as well. And that's where everybody comes, everybody. And it's like a big camp, you know what I'm saying? And there's like, almost really similar to like DC Music Summit, except I don't know if you guys have writing sessions. But
we need to have them now.
Yeah, exactly.
Brought to you by Reesa.
Listen, it's a dope concept.
Yeah.
But he would have speakers come in. Roland was there, and they had just released like this 808s program, that we got to play with, and that was a cool professional year for me. I had a really good time.
Do you think you've had a lot of like professional support in the DMV growing as an artist here?
No. No.
Yeah.
No. I feel, no person really does it on their own. However, I feel a lot of I don't know how I can say this without, because I want to give credit to the team. Like, and I feel like I've done that already.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of aspects and areas where things fell through the gaps. You know what I'm saying? No.
Yeah.
No.
What do you think, just because of course we're all learning every day. You said earlier that you're learning all the time. What do you think you would have needed, or even now, from then and now, what would you have needed to feel fully supported or much more supported?
One thing I used to always say is a consistent and real mentor. I never had that. Like, for real. I never really had like a mentor. I think that there are pockets where I can salute and definitely be appreciative of Sam in terms of how he showed me the ropes. And when I mean that, he showed me the ropes of like gigging and how we could get off on touring. Like, we toured. I toured Release album. I toured Lovers Rock. Like, we really worked the albums independently. He showed me, how to make money. You know what I'm saying? Just in terms of like, so we only did one run of it. So if you are listening and you have a hard copy release CD, there are only 1,000 that were ever made.
Wow, of Lovers Rock.
No, Release. The first release hard copy album. And he really showed me like how to, work the market. Tone. Walking Bear from Philly. He really showed me how to, work. I absorbed a lot, you know. Man, Philly as well. Like, there's a lot of your favorite MDs, are from Philly. Like Adam Blackstone is another one of them. We have a lot of great ones here too. Smiles is a good one. Ant is a good one, and I'm sure there's more that I have not had the privilege and honor of working with. But I know there's a lot of good ones there too. But just observing. And I would say though that was a conscious choice and a conscious decision to kind of take in my environment. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like somebody really sat me down. And if I really piece it together, like I can piece a journey of mentorship between many people at different points in my journey. Like I remember, with that whole Philly 2017 run, I really burned myself out. And I remember my Amuna was talking to me, and at that time I was smoking heavy. I was smoking tobacco heavy. And my Amuna was like, yo, Reesa, I'm really proud of you, doing really good, but, just be conscious on, the way you treating your body. And that stuck with me, and it wasn't a year or so after that where I had my literal breakdown, you know what I'm saying? I would say maybe people don't really have the responsibility of protecting you from yourself, but I do think that I lacked a mentor. And I think that maybe I was perceived as being a lot stronger or put together than I really was. And I feel as though there were times, at my lowest point, nobody was there. You know what I'm saying? Period. And it just gave me and allowed me the space to continue to, kind of spiral out. But thank God for... God,
Amen.
Universe, and grace, and fortitude, and passion, and there's just a light in me that so far has not been able to be extinguished, no matter how close I came to that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful to have survived a lot of personal shit. I'm grateful to say that I've been in the game since 2008. You know what I'm saying?
In a very tough field, coming from a very tough city. And so just to kind of bring it to our title, I want to ask you this in this line that you're saying. So DC artists have to leave to get love. How do you feel about that phrase? And have you heard it before?
Yes. The word that sticks out to me in that statement, though, is to get love. I ain't have to go nowhere to get love. I don't think everyone needs to go anywhere to get love, especially not in this city. I think the love this city has for its artists and the pride, in my opinion, that it has for its artists is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Again, laid the foundation for my belief and courage even in myself. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it does go beyond this area because I had the opportunity to tour and connect with people all over the United States as well, you know what I'm saying? However, I think that it really depends on the individual.
As far as the getting love or...
I think I understand what you're trying to say, in order to get to the next level or to...
Possibly, maybe,
in order to break or in order to
maybe be full time with some benefits.
Yeah, maybe potentially. But no, I'm not gonna say you gotta leave to do it. It really depends on what you're doing. I know people who are making good money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Money, not even out in the forefront with that shit. You know what I'm saying? You never know how plugged they are. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, Crystal Waters still lives here.
And doing well. Yeah.
And is an icon. Still traveling the world doing her thing. So, no, I don't think you have to leave here to do it. But I think for some, yeah. For some people, the journey is going to be a little bit different.
But what about in the lines of what you were saying about being supported professionally? So you're probably getting audience and community love for show. DC showing you love, DMV showing you love. But when it comes to that professional part, do you feel like there is a lack of infrastructure for musicians or creatives in the DMV?
It depends on who you are
Okay.
and who you know.
Okay.
Are there people here that can
Mm-hmm.
change your life, change your career, and plug you into a network? Absolutely.
Okay. So it's about who you know to connect you with that network.
I mean, again,
Mm-hmm.
look what Pharrell just did.
Come on. Made it happen right here in DC. Absolutely.
Shout out Dre the Mayor.
Okay. Shout him out.
For real. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
it all depends on,
Yeah.
who you make an impact on. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You
Yeah.
have the Trails who are doing big
Mm-hmm.
things we love. We got the Big
Mm-hmm.
Flocks doing big things we love. Like, I love to see them niggas win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I know they
Yeah.
have their own bouts and have been
Yeah.
in and out, and I don't know them personally, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, when I see them,
Yeah.
it's like, yo, like, so much
It's
love.
love,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you got people that can do that. The Chaz French is coming back. Like,
Yeah.
he just announced that
Yeah.
as well. Like, he's plugged in. And I'm pretty sure Fat Trail just got, he just announced signed or something, like a label or something that he's with. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do it for
Absolutely.
sure. It really depends on who resonates with you
Mm-hmm.
and who you resonate with. Maybe your tribe can carry you as far, or maybe my tribe has carried me as far as they can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a certain aspect of my career that is in my hands now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are certain aspects that I can accomplish here, and there are certain aspects that I cannot.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it all depends on the artist and the creative, in my opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
because look, again,
Yeah, let's bring it. Yes.
you know what I'm saying? Magazines.
So talk
and-
about these two right here. Talk about these two right here. The Washington Post magazine in DC.
the Modern Luxury magazine.
Mm-hmm.
These are both 2017. I told you I was pumping in 2017.
Yeah.
This jump says The Voice. Reesa Renee redefines the rich sound of DC.
Wow.
That meant a lot to me. You know what I'm saying?
Best of Washington 2017.
Mm-hmm. Modern Luxury.
Yeah.
So usually, y'all, I tell y'all these stories, and it's not like they invited me. It was like pulled out the red carpet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this shoot I got there, my stylist met me there at the time, because y'all know good and well they probably was trying to put me in a dress, and I had to figure out something dressy, and this is what I do. Y'all heard Wonderland Cool. But yeah, they style you and they shoot you, and it's not like they say you're gonna be the cover of the magazine. It's like I've done so many modeling gigs. It's such a blessing when they also highlight my music.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like put it on the front. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And as far as this one went, publicist hit me up, was like, yo, Washington Post magazine is doing something. Just go down there.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. So I go down there. Man, I'm goofing off all day. No matter where you put me in, if I'm in a good spirit, like I'm gonna have me a good time. And I had my speaker at that time, and I have been I call it what did I call it? Vibe curating. I've been vibe curating pop-up events at that time, right? So man, my playlist game was, man, there wasn't nobody messing with my playlist. So I'm there. I got this little speaker that I got from Jeff, right? The playlist sessions I gave away. And that was the first time I met Mark Baptiste. And Mark Baptiste is who shot the shoot for this. But legendary, iconic photographer, man. I promise you your favorite pictures of Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, like, he took them gems.
Wow.
So Mark Baptiste, got the opportunity to meet him. Crazy guy. That's my man. I love him to death. But we was like feeding off each other energy the whole shoot, goofing off, dancing, carrying on. And long story short, like, we would meet in like the hotel lobbies where everybody was, where all the designers were. We would get dressed in the hotel lobby, and they were taking buses of models out, and then would come back and pick up another group and go here and do this and do that. So we were just putting on stuff. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I mean, I did, but I didn't. I was just there, like, taking advantage of the opportunity and just kind of being in the mix. So when I found out they chose my picture as the cover, that was crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, they've been supporting me for a long time, and the papers and stuff have supported me as well.
Yeah,
so.
what's that? What is that right there?
This one is the Informer.
Ah.
And you know what I like the most about this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to open it up. Hold on. Page 24. Where are we at?
And what year is that one?
This one is 2015.
Okay.
I think it's on 24. Here you go. So here's a thread.
Wow. Oh.
And it says, Reesa Renee sharing her gift of song, returns home after a successful U.S. tour.
Wow.
That was so tight.
That is so tight.
Mm-hmm. And then on the front it says, PG County's Reesa Renee singing sensation.
I love it. Oh wow.
Yeah, so y'all been showing love.
And that was after which tour?
This would have been after release.
After release.
I was still torn with release because I honestly, 2015, I would believe was a year before I released Lovers Rock.
And how'd they find out you were in town? Oh, somebody in the grapevine.
I have no idea. Honestly. Let me see. See if I can look up. Oh no, Lovers Rock. This was Lovers Rock tour. Yeah. So the cool thing about the Lovers Rock tour is I spent like, I'm gonna tell a funny story and I'm gonna stop. I spent like 3 months in LA that year. I went out there with 2 shows. Ended up getting booked for like 5.
Wow.
One of which was headlining the House of Blues, which doesn't even exist anymore. Another venue. Tear.
But is that because of COVID or that was just period?
No.
Oh,
They like tore it down and we're gonna, at least the last I heard, build like some development, housing development or something.
Oh, okay.
But I was able to perform there like right before they did that. I was out there, met Deborah Lee, like sold her a ticket. Like I was out there just jugging, you know? And I had been in LA for like 3 months by myself. And I was so pressed because I hadn't performed with my band in months, right? So flew them out. And y'all know every year DC does Miami Takeover.
Yes.
So this was back in 2015 before, I don't remember when we legalized in California, but you could just sign up right on the beach, get your card in Cali at that time, and go into the dispensary. Yeah. Back then it was like, whoa! And also back then they did not regulate edibles. So nowadays, when you get an edible from a dispensary, at least, like the most it'll be, I say maybe it's like 60 milligrams. Back then, 250.
Wow.
So they used to have these jumps called Green Hornets. Man, them jumps used to be so good. You only needed like a quarter of them, though, because they were so strong. So I brought a bunch back to Miami when I met my bands because we was gigging down there. And I was jet lagged. We was up all night because my manager at the time didn't book a hotel. So we was trying to wait to get a hotel. We was up all night. It was so crazy. And I had shows the next day, and I was just jugging. And we had them damn Green Hornets, young. Between that and just jet lag and everything, I had a gig, and then I had a party I was supposed to be hosting that same night. Girl, they had my name on the marquee and everything. We pulled up. I was so messed up. I couldn't even go into the damn venue. But crazy fun times, Jay. Crazy fun times.
That is
good
awesome.
Times. Wait. Yeah.
So you just were out there, just out in L.A.
Yeah. Jugging. Again, that's all I know.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think it ever stops either.
No.
Good times. I've lived a lot of lives. I say that all the time, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
But I'm on my next life now.
Come on.
And
come on.
This sound that we have perfected and discovered and honed in on, I'm so excited to share. Like, I'm so excited to share. Wear a Dress, Time Flies. That was a peek into like this next album that I'm cultivating right now. But I got a lot of work, so I don't have a release date yet, but please trust and believe it's going to be, in my opinion, some of our best work.
Can you show us this board here?
Oh, yeah. So y'all said, I got one more magazine.
Oh, yeah, show that too. Talk about this one. Yeah.
This is a local magazine, actually.
Neuro is great.
Yeah. This was 2015 as well.
Wow.
They had a whole release party for this. That was really cool. Picasso's in there. Shout out DeMont Picasso. He got shouted out in there
DeMont.
as well.
DeMont Pender.
Best artist of our time, man. Yep. So anyway,
Wow.
Y'all asked me to bring like old stuff.
That's right. That's right.
I brought a vision board
Mm-hmm.
that I created. I want to say this might have been like 2015, 2016, potentially. But this middle part is an article that was in
The Soul of
the
DC.
paper.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and 5 other artists.
Mm.
Allison Carney was one of them.
Okay.
Raheem Devon was another one that I can remember. Yeah, but it was just like some of the things I wanted to kind of hone in on that year and just kind of focus my energy on doing. And again, like 2017 was one of my biggest years, professionally speaking, or industry. I say industry speaking for now.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on making a lot more noise, y'all.
Oh, my God. Love it.
But yeah, just some of the phrases and stuff. I guess this was manifesting before manifesting.
Yes, yes. I love all the words there. You can get it today. Payday, push, payday, succeed, champion, to live the best for love now. Life is great. It all. Knowledge of self, rewrite the rules. I love it.
Yeah.
Confident, made of music, drive, respect yourself.
Yeah,
Ball
that's important.
hard.
Yep.
Number 1, cash, wealth, passionate, rise and shine. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's awesome.
This was one of my motivating, and I kept it,
Yeah. Wow. And look at you.
Look at me, still kicking.
Yes, right. It's
whatever.
beautiful. Oh, whatever. Oh man. So okay, I'm just gonna pull in some of these questions here.
Yeah.
Do you think the music scene in DC has changed over the years, and if so, how?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, I've stated this in the beginning when I first started, independent performances, artist performances, were not local. If you're from, and I hate the word local, homegrown. Yeah. If you were raised in the area, in my opinion, it was expected that you would go out your sets. Shout out to Proverb and Roddy MC.
Yeah.
Let me say that because Pro is the very first song I professionally recorded. I want to say it might have even been cut before. I don't remember the period between Got Me Loose and me and Pro's Can't Forget About You. But Pro really brought me into culture at that time. Was lyricists and raw, like a rapping culture, if you will, or lyricist culture that I wasn't really involved in, you know what I'm saying? And again, like live shows, I think at that time it was a period where people just wouldn't really accept your shows as an independent artist, if that makes sense, if you weren't playing go-go. And I think that I can humbly say that era of time, I won't necessarily say that we are the forerunners of it, if you will, but, it was very few of us that were out there, kicking it, doing all original music for an hour that weren't like mainstream artists that were kind of growing up here. And I think, fast forwarding 10, 15 years of studying the scene, et cetera, to have artists like Mojo, Alex Vaughn, Matt McGee, just a whole nother generation of, DMV professionals who are out here selling out gigs, you know what I'm saying, venues, songbirds, and, just a different type of, just the newer venues, spaces or whatever. IDK, don't even get me started. He's on a whole nother level, though, but that's another story for another day as well. Shout out IDK. Follow him for a long time as well. But yeah, I just think it's evolved at a point where now there is a niche market of fans and supporters who sought after those type of acts from here and are very proud to put on and support and buy tickets and buy merch and sing all the records and be there. Micah, my heart, Micah Robinson, of course. We went to high school together. That's my man.
That man can sing.
Yeah. always been able to. And what he's grown into, I can't wait to see what he's going to continuously put out as well. But, you know, you can see some really dope, talented shows from homegrown individuals, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, as well, you know what I'm saying? Kennedy Center stages, you know, Carolyn Malachi, and, you know, it's a bunch of us, you know, that, Maimuna, like, you know, Lucina, you know what I'm saying? Masego, he's from VA, you know, I've never seen him perform here, but I actually got put onto him by a colleague of mine when I was working with Sports Zone. One of my main photographers, Brian, he was like, yeah, I got this friend, he makes this album, Masego, da-da-da. I'm like, okay. He sends me a link, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then he calls him on FaceTime, and it's like, oh, this is Reesa, Masego. I'm like, yeah, it was good. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
it was a vibe.
Anyways, I think just artists that I've mentioned and artists that I haven't have really just changed it. And you think of, like, social media now, and people going viral, and you know, just traveling and touring the world, you know what I'm saying, that are homegrown.
That's right.
Period. And aren't, and not to poo-poo Go-Go at all, because Go-Go has even grown to a space that I am so happy to see, man. Remember they were saying Go-Go was dead, and, you know, and then, you know, when Chuck passed, they really were saying that it was going to die, and it's like, nah, like, that's the heartbeat of the city. And, you know, to have organizations like Don't Meet DC and Long Live Go-Go's and, you know, Ron Motens and the Yada Yadas of the city, to elevate it to be that, to be what it is, to have the protest, to have G outside with the flag on his back, you know what I'm saying, and have all of us in the streets. Like, I was up on a jump with Damo, DJ Damo, when all that was happening, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, to have those moments and to have Mochella out in LA, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, to have my colleagues and my friends, you know what I'm saying, like Casey and Josh and Animal and Wincy and G and Kim and Killer Cow and you know what I'm saying, like people I can actually, like, you know, Scooby, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, real, like, Yana, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, it's dope to see the way that everything has been elevated in the space that it is in right now. Like, hell yeah, it's changed a lot and for the better, in my opinion.
Yes, it has. Wow. What do you believe or think that an artist needs to have longevity in their career?
Just don't quit.
Hello.
That's really all you need.
Yeah.
You know, just don't quit. Yeah. And there you have it. You know, and I think that we can be very critical of ourselves. Like I was stating earlier, in terms of not always needing to be in the same mindset or, you know, the same phase in your career. Again, like one season's about the money and one season is about blah blah blah. Like, don't be afraid to change the hats you wear. Prime example, and I'm so sorry that it took me so long to say this name, Tabby is a prime example of that. I've looked up to Tabby for so long, young. And if I had to say a mentor, like, I would low-key say that Tabby has been a very integral part in my career. He was the first mainstream artist at the time, in my opinion, to kind of take me under his wing. You know what I'm saying? And it was back when he was, you know, first doing videos. He's been doing it for a very long time. But he was doing one with Six Shooter. And I can't remember the name of the album, but it's the one where he has a flamingo, I want to say. He did a video like in a bathtub with a full outfit on and sneakers. What's the name of that? I'm sorry, it's going to bother me. Hold on. I got to name drop it. It's a couple records on that. I'm falling for her and we ain't met yet. If she got a boyfriend, send a death threat. If she got a girlfriend, send a death threat. That's the hardest line. The Summer Years is the name of it. So that's when Tabby first, like, you know, kind of brought me around. And we did a video together then. And then I was like, this is probably far-fetched, but can you do a feature with me? And he was like, yeah, sure, send me the record. And that's how Good Day was birthed. Wow. And then years later, it takes me a while because I'm an independent artist and takes independent money. And yes, we were on tour, but it was funding the actual tour. But we hit him up and like, yo, we in LA. Let's shoot Good Day video. He's like, let's do it. And we do it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tabby has gone and worn so many damn hats, like from Put Me in the Pocket, Tabby, to,
Yeah.
Him and Six, and I can't remember the name of it. You gotta forgive me, but they did like some type of tourist type commercials thing that they were doing for a little bit of time with Six and his cool kids. And then now, from his father passing away
Yeah.
and leaving him the cocoa farm to now having a
That's
home
right.
built in Togo to where he has his own coffee company.
Yes.
Like, come on, Tabby.
Exactly.
To now he has a
Exactly.
skincare line.
I didn't know he had that. Wow.
To now the skincare line got picked up by Target.
Wow.
So then he did a whole photo shoot that had like his own art exhibit. Like, come on, Tabby. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
Tabby is the coolest artist ever. You know what I'm saying? He's really flipping cool. You know what I mean? And honestly, my next album cover features, he did his album was called Le Bon Voyage, I want to say. And he did a pop-up where he had these suitcases that we were all sitting on. And I was like, Tabby, I got this idea. Mind you, he doesn't live here, so he's not really home. But I can text him at any point, and he'll text me back. So I was like, Tabby, I got this idea, but I need your suitcases. Do you still have them? Like, where are they? And he was like, oh, yeah, they're in D.C.
Wow.
So he hooks me up with the woman's house that they're at. Man, we pull up. She lets me get them. We carry them just out. And I'll talk more about it when I release the album.
Yeah.
But on 2 separate occasions with like a 3 to 4 year time span in between. I shot the cover like 3-4 years ago. Then I went back to that same place, set up the same exact shot, put on the same exact outfit, got the same exact suitcases, and shot my lead music video that's going to be shot that same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait to talk about this next project once it's released. But boy, it takes so much time, effort, and dedication to get it out. But I think it's that good that I'm not going to rush it and I'm going to do it right.
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
shout out to Tabby, the inspiration, big brother, like coolest ninja ever. Yeah, I always call him. He's so fucking cool, man.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a good one. He's a gem.
Wow, that is so awesome. And I mean, he is an inspiration.
Yeah.
I got a chance to interview him some time ago at the Howard Theater. I'm like, wow, this guy is incredible. I think at the time he was trying to open up a coffee shop in D.C. Does he still have that on?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he hasn't already did it.
Okay.
Again, his coffee's here.
Yeah, it is. That's right.
Shout out to Toddy Coffee and a Toddy Body.
Okay.
And no, I am not on payroll. I love him that much.
Do you feel artists today have more access to infrastructure?
Yes.
Okay.
And I say this from personal experience. I have been dealing with copyright issues with one of my images for a long time. And each time it's happened has been post. Like, it's not just in the United States, it's overseas too. And every time I've asked for assistance, it's always been kind of like a vague response on how to properly deal with it. Now, this is the first time that I've actually seen the store that's selling it. It's on Amazon at that. Somebody sent it to me or whatever, and I actually see like the store up and running. So it's like clearly and obviously like illegal. Like, I gotta, figure out like the best way to attack them, and I've got it together. But I was going on a rant on Twitter about it this past week. And for the first time, like, I was irritated, that all these people were coming at me with opinions, right? And then a group messaged me, right? A group from here that promotes DMV music, and they've been following me and supporting me over the last couple of years or whatever. And they was, like, asking me questions, and I wrote back, and they disappeared. Ain't say nothing. So I was like, what's the point? And people ask you shit and don't help out, and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm going off.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It's cool. Like, it's nothing I'm not used to, right?
Yeah.
So I let it die. I had my emotions, and I, dealt with it on my own terms, right? So today, and later in the afternoon, I checked my email. This man has sent me an email, not only just checking back in on how things were going, mind you, never responded back on Twitter at all. Tagged and CC'd a lawyer in that email and connected me with a lawyer, and I have a phone call with him on Wednesday of next week. And I'm just like, whoa. Like, first of all, genuine people. Like, the first thing I said to him was, I just want to thank you so much. Like, genuinely express my gratitude. You didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really followed up and you really cared. You know what I'm saying? And I say all that to say, like, we have the world kind of at the tip of our fingers. You know, and something as simple as going on rants, you know, not to say like that's the way you can get legal advice, but like somebody's always watching, you know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to actually like give you something concrete. Like I can't say like this lawyer is about to help me get thousands of dollars off of this, but the fact that something of substance could have came of that, I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And yeah, so I think it is possible to get more structure, if you will, now. And even I don't know if it's just a phase, and I can really only speak of my personal journey, but this recent situation, again, even though it's been happening forever, really just lit a fire under my ass. Like, I'm tired of people stealing my images. I am flattered by it, for sure. But at the same time, it's just like, get on your shit, Reesa. Like, there's no reason that you don't have logos and stuff. Like, I don't even want... There's things I'm not putting out or that I've taken off of social media. That's also why I stopped posting a lot of my photo shoots and stuff to my Instagram. Like, I really just kind of changed the way in which I go about things. But I took, like, logos and things like that down because I am a business. I am a selling point. Right. My brand and my my likeness is a selling point. I have to realize and recognize that. And I'm not putting shit out at this point until it's trademarked because I just don't have the space to get caught slipping like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's Amazon. Honestly, I really don't even like the design that they did on the t-shirts. I don't think it's cool, you know, but at the end of the day, like, they are still getting money off of my face. That's right. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just really got to be on my shit. And, you know, I encourage any artists or creatives or whatever, like, you know, I'm just saying, just make sure that you have, because there's somebody out there claiming that they own the rights to that photo. Wow. Like, are you kidding me right now? Exactly. Come on now. Obviously you don't, but like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, stay on top of the business end of it if you could. Yeah. Early.
So the other thing is that artists locally need legal support.
Yeah. And you know, I had this financial guru or accountant been bugging me since I first started, since the Apollo. Wow. I'm like, I don't need you right now. I don't need you right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, lawyers are necessary, I think, but does everybody need them at every waking point? Maybe not. So maybe you should like think about like how in which what is it called? Not a stipend, but have them on retainer. Yeah. You kind of have to like decide like does everybody need a manager, and in what aspects? You know what I'm saying? Like there's some shows that I negotiate myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Now if there's like a 4-5-figure negotiation type situation, then yes, I'm going to need to tap somebody else in to speak on my behalf. Yeah. But if we're talking, you know, some short shit, not really short shit, but you know what I mean, something that's not, you know, over the top, then technically I can kind of speak for myself. So that's right. It really depends on the season and where you at, for real, low key.
Absolutely. Yeah. How do you measure success?
Usually post. Usually after it happens. I would also say like any day that you're doing what you love is success to me. I mean, it really depends on what aspect you're looking at it, you know. If your focus is streams and you're not making the numbers that you want to make, or that's not successful for you, then by all means, like, focus on what you need to do to get your streams up and where you need to put your marketing budget in, and et cetera, so you can be successful in that area. Yeah. But I think, again, as a creative, I think we can be very critical of ourselves because, you know, our art is something that's very personal and very sensitive. And if you're wearing all the hats, you know what I'm saying, it can really be exhausting. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's important to kind of stay locked in on that.
Absolutely. Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add that I haven't asked you? What would you say to a young Reesa? Like, what would you say to somebody who's coming up who's, you know, creating their own genre space? They kind of fell into this musicianship. It's a relief from maybe their hard spaces in life. What would you say?
Can I say it?
Yeah.
I say do that, motherfucker. Do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
I say stay focused. I would say be mindful of the company you keep and how you allow it to influence you. I just say that. I when I first started, and again, I've been very internal a lot lately because of what I was explaining I went through earlier. And there was just certain aspects of my character and things that I did not involve myself in when I first started, that I saw myself gradually just kind of falling and getting into. Now, granted, there were a lot of things I still didn't involve myself into, but a lot of things I just allowed to kind of take over, and seep into, my character and some of the ways that I was moving, you know what I'm saying? So, I would just say to try to stay true. What I would tell any individual, like, be forgiving of yourself, be understanding of yourself, but don't quit. Like, don't give up on yourself, you know what I'm saying? And hold on, for the ride. At the end of the day, have a good time, enjoy yourself, you know what I'm saying? And stay focused.
What would you say was your compass, or what's the compass for people to look for who are navigating in this career?
Your why. Really tapping in. The heart, the pulse, if you will, of why you do what you do, how it makes you feel, like the feeling, the heartbeat, the meaning, you know what I'm saying? And in you, like what the process looks and feels like for you. You know what I'm saying? And whatever gives you that feeling, pursue that. And again, it doesn't always have to be like records or shows, or it could be fashion. It could be art. Like, look at Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying? He expresses himself in so many damn ways. And if he was all about my music, we wouldn't get these dope-ass art pieces that he creates. Now, granted, he be dropping 20-track albums, so he still be in the studio with his music. But the dancing, and he's just so many layers to be like 3-dimensional or 5-dimensional. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just allow yourself the space to be able to do that. Spend so many times where, I've thrived musically and artistically, and I also have a talent for connecting with people. I have a heart for my empathy, you know what I'm saying, and being able to, help people with the, technology and explaining things to them and in certain comfort zones and areas that they're not comfortable exploring, just kind of guiding them through being able to do that, and that talent takes me beyond a stage, you know what I'm saying, and it helps keep me kind of in tune to a purpose that is the heartbeat behind what I'm creating and I'm appreciated for it to even begin with, you know what I'm saying? So just, I say staying in tune with yourself is really important throughout it all.
What can we expect from the next evolution of Reesa Renee? Double R.
Double R. I guess the good thing is, depending on how in tune you were, like half the shit I said in this interview, you might be like, huh? I didn't know that happened. You know what I'm saying? I've always lived my life fairly publicly, especially if you follow me on social media. But ask me again.
What can we expect from this new evolution, or this next evolution?
I'm going to show my ass. But I'm going to do it in like the heart and attitude behind it is a different energy. I think when I was doing it before, in some aspects, again, I was very high strung. And maybe I had a chip on my shoulder. Maybe, I don't really know what it was, but the heart and the press behind what I'm doing now is just like, I'm in my bag, you know what I'm saying? But it's like it's a funky ass, cool, like what wrote Wonderland cool type bag, you know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
I'm scripting this music video right now that I'm working on. And I haven't scripted like this since Wonderland Cool. And I'm putting the treatments together and, finding locations that we're going to be shooting on. It's just, I don't know if I've had like this type of aha involvement in a long time. You know, the wheels are turning. My insides, I'm awake again, and I was dead for so fucking long. You know what I'm saying? And it feels so good. I'm just having a good time again. You know, and I feel like it's genuine. I feel like the people I'm working with are genuine. I feel like people I've worked with and creating the music is very genuine. Again, why it's taking me so long to put it out, because I really want to do it right.
Yeah.
So I think you will definitely be entertained.
Yeah.
I think the Reesa that everybody fell in love with and still in love with is going to shine bright. And the genuineness of it, the funkiness of it, the naturalness of it, you know, the swag, the feeling, the vibe. Just want to have a good time, just want to dance, just want to laugh, just want to like just get that energy. I think we're going to do a good job showcasing that this go around. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Reesa.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you.
Yeah. Yes. I hope I didn't miss anything.
No,
I hope I didn't bore y'all.
No. Was there anything else you want to leave us with?
Nah.
No?
I don't think I have anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.